As you can hear, the great bowerbird is calling for its mates. That squawking sound, it varies. And as the females come in, sometimes 4 or 5 at once, he plays up to them and the squawking changes and his prancing changes. As you can hear, the female has arrived. Here's a male running up with a piece of offering for the female. You can hear him squawking differently. The female's watching. He's bringing one of the red tapes, a piece of red tape to offer for her. You can hear the changes of sound and his prancing. My name's Marco Trovalucci. I'm a Cairns-based photographer. I'm up here on one of my favourite Gulf of Carpentaria properties. I come here about 2 times a year at least, and generally camp and photograph the wildlife and just the landscapes around here. I just thought I'd take you through my current setup. I've been photographing a great bowerbird bower, and I've got my hide set up and a set of lights to illuminate the bower, and I thought I'd take you through that. I hope it's useful. Let's go. This is and I apologise for the quality of the video, but it's from a little point and shoot Canon still camera, and it's quite a good camera. I'm very pleased with it, but it's still not the Reggie Dig. But there's the front of the hide that I've sort of emblazoned with a few shrubs and stuff, and there's a fall of timber there that helps to hold the greenery up, and that sort of protects and sort of camouflages my gear. As you saw, I've got camo gear as it is, which helps. I'll take you around the back, and I've got what can be described, I think, as a blanket. It's an grey army blanket, flannel blanket, and all that's doing is breaking up my outline. So I've got the bushes in the front and the outline broken by the blanket. And you can see I've got a camera bag there, and on top of the camera bag is a D70 with an 80 to 400 VR Nikkor lens that I use just as a grab shot while my other cameras are set up. There's my little stool, and there's my tripod with my remotes, and my D300 sporting a 70 to 200 VR f2.8 Nikkor lens, really lovely lens, nice and sharp. And atop of the D300 is the Nikon proprietary CLS Creative Lighting System SU800 wireless controller. I'll take you around. There's an SP600 that basically is, then they're all set on manual exposure mode. I think between 1/4 and 1/8 power depending on where the light is. Now that is basically shining down on top of the bower. So it's shining a light into those, I'll try and get a shot of it, those stones, that bedding that the bowerbird's got, so it just puts a nice pool of light in there. And it's set at 85mm zoom ratio, so it just pulls it into that area there to give it a bit of light when I'm photographing. And they're all set on channel 1 and 3 different groups, A, B and C, and that was group A. This one here is an SB800, and it's attached through a Justin clamp onto the root of a tree, and it's set at 105mm, and I'll take you around, and what I've got that doing is basically shooting a light into the bower. It lights a little bit of the front, but I've got it aimed with the zoom ratio so it lights the inner recesses of the bower, and it gets pretty dark in the back because no light gets in there, so that's been pretty good. The next speed light, that's Group B. The next one is another SB 800, and it is set at 14 millimeters, and you can see it's got a dome diffuser on it. And basically, I'll take you around, there's all thorn bushes here, but basically it lights up the back entrance to and puts a nice pool of light into those stones, and also lights up the back of the bower, so that when the bird's in the bower, I get a bit of backlight onto him. So it's worked out pretty well. So there's my 3 light setup. And the fourth setup here, as I sit down quietly, is a remote camera I've got set up. As you can see, I'll try and zoom out so you can see the whole shebang. This is the bower. Here's the front entrance. See, shotgun cartridges, he's got all sorts of stuff. In fact, he's got a couple of pegs on the other side. While I'm at it, you can see, because they're my pegs. I used to wonder where those pegs went till I tracked him one day, and there's some red and green pegs and some red tape. There's another peg there. Anyhow, I now know where it was, because my camp is through there. It's about 300-400 metres. I'll try and zoom in. There's my camp on the banks of the lagoon, and I tracked this fella down to here, so that's how I knew his bower was here. Now this D200 is set up remotely, and it's tethered using an SC17 Nikon cord, and I've got that speedlight SB800 set at about 24mm zoom rate, and I've got it pointed up slightly, so it just adds a pool of light in the foreground and the front of the bower. And I've got the Nikon 12 to 24 f4.0 lens, AFS lens. It's a lovely lens, wide angle. I've got it set at 15, so it's basically capturing anything from where that shotgun shell is, or that snake skin, through to the front, into the 4 or 5 inches into the bower, nice and sharp. So I've captured him a couple of times in the foreground when he's adjusting the stuff. Now I've got that flash and wireless camera set up, because it's tethered and it's not even 9-10 inches from the camera to the side of the camera. I've got that TTL, and it works quite well. I had it set at manual, but it works better on TTL. That's basically to get an idea of the setup. So I'll pan across from the bower through. You can see that lovely log, that tree that's fallen over, that adds just a little bit of camo to my feet and lower legs. And there's my hide with my tripod mounted D300. So I hope you found that little setup movie instructive. I mean, this is how I've done it. I'm no expert, but I'm slowly getting a picture of what I want. So hopefully that was of some use to you, and interesting, I hope, at the same time. So on that note, I'll catch you all later.